I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati.
Doobie-doobie-doo. Happy Friday, guys. Whoop, whoop. Welcome. Shout out to everyone watching on YouTube, Twitter, and Rockfin. Can't forget about people on Rockfin as well. I want to give some shout outs to people in the chat. What's going on? Blue Moon Red Wine says, oh boy. Uh-oh. Yeah. Whoopsies. What's going on? Death Leopards. Oh yeah to you too. All right. What's going on? A1 and A2, 5 Pacific. Is that Homie the Clown? That is Homie the Clown. Oh, man. Bringing Back in Living Color. Still one of the best shows, I think, till this day. What's going on? Workers Control of Production says same. LOL. Greetings. Also a Sabby member. Shout out to Super Patriot says Dave is the GOAT. Uh-oh. Greetings, Dan O'Neill said, just saw a young rapper on MSNBC talking up KH as a common person, ... clueless. Interesting. What's going on, Lieutenant the Third? So does France just export bad ideas and African goods now? I don't know what's up with that. I know they have a lot more things there than we do here for the people. Greetings, Eric Thomas, who's a Sabby member, says happy Turkey Day +1. What's going on? Hannah G says Tulsi lost her mind. We'll get into that. I don't know what's going on with Tulsi Gabbard lately. I really don't. Shout out to Blue Moon Country 1017. Tulsi over Bernie any day. Tulsi is not a I guess that's supposed to be PUSSY against the establishment like him, even though she doesn't use squad dem talking points. Well, we shall see, Moon Country. Greetings, Oz. Always great to see you. Shout out Lawrence. Always a pleasure. Doobie-doobie-doo. Greetings, Valerie. Hello, Sabby and chat friends. TGIF. It's Friday in the house. Greeting, Justine. Tulsi is your basic POS. Wow. Oh man, we got some things to say. What's going on? CBC Voter says Panquake. Yes, I'm still waiting for Panquake to launch. I am. Greeting Dolores says hello, everyone. Other side Steve says, gotta get me some intro music. This is nice. The intro music came from Jesse Jet. You can follow him on Twitter. Gotta give a shout out to him. Greetings to Lex Thomas, who just became a new Sabby member. Welcome and thank you so much. Shout out to Yipper99. Good morning, y'all, and happy hangover day. You must be abroad. It's evening here. Greetings, Pirate Alex says, hey. All right, what's going on, Notori? It's always great to see you. She says, hey, Sab. Greetings, Fetish Magic says, hi. What's going on, Anthony? Always great to see you. Hamza Mir, great. MC Sean is a Julian Assange supporter. I did not know that. Interesting. What's going on, Jenna Colby? Always great to see you. Love your hearts. Greetings, Ashura. 2 disliked by lovers before it begins. Oh boy. I'm pretty sure I know who those people are. It's pretty obvious. At least for me anyway, it's pretty obvious. Greetings, Jake Smith. Tulsi is getting warped. I'm slamming her, but I still love Tulsi. I adopted her 4 years ago when I joined Twitter at Draft Tulsi here. What's going on at Draft Tulsi? I haven't seen you in a while. You got to tell me if you're still on Twitter, man. I know some people have been getting kicked off. Yes, it's come to that, guys. Gadir Osman says, hello, love from Liverpool, Merseyside, UK. Greetings. Hello, UK is in the house. What is up? And what's going on? Brett James says, hi, everyone. All right. Welcome to Sabby's podcast. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. If you are new, I want to let you know Sabby's podcast is a part of the Revolutionary Blackout Network, formerly known as FHL. You can catch me there on Thursdays for the Roundtable and Fridays for the Sabby Sab Show. You can catch me here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday evening. I take the weekends off. All right. So, what are we going to talk about tonight? Let me go ahead and share my screen. It's amazing what happened yesterday on Thanksgiving. It's amazing. People had some interesting tweets. Let's see what we got tonight. All right. We are talking about Tulsi Gabbard's cringe tweet. What did Tulsi tweet out yesterday on Thanksgiving Day? Where do you see it? On Thanksgiving Day, and why it has become controversial. We're going to talk about Joe Rogan is smeared. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, he's being smeared as far right. And we're going to talk about where that is coming from and why people are saying that. And last and not least, we're going to discuss Dave Chappelle is confronted again. What happened to Dave Chappelle this week? So, yeah, this is going to be an interesting conversation. Let me stop sharing my screen. Bye-bye, Twitter. Bye-bye. Yeah. So yesterday was Turkey Day, and I didn't think there would be that much action coming from people, but there was still. Tulsi Gabbard was one of them. I don't think I told you guys what I'm drinking tonight, did I? I did not. I am drinking Night Shift Brewing Company Awake. This is a coffee porter. It's actually one of my favorites by Night Shift. It's an oldie, but a goodie, really smooth, made right here in Massachusetts. In fact, most of the beers that you see me drink on Friday nights, they're from breweries here in Massachusetts or New England, but mostly Massachusetts. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen, and I am going to show you what Tulsi said. Oh boy. Like, this has caused such an uproar that other people are responding, even notable people are responding to what Tulsi Gabbard said, and they are not happy with it. So here's the tweet here. Tulsi said, if America is a racist country, Arbery's killers would not have been found guilty by a nearly all-white jury in Georgia. Most Americans of all colors believe in Dr. MLK's adage that as God's children, we should be judged by the content of our character, not the color of our skin. Now, hold on, ladies and gentlemen, because it goes even further than that. Now, she also had a video. Let me come out. Sorry. I'm trying not to laugh, but she also had a video where she doubled down because she was heavily attacked for this tweet, but she had a video too. So let me mute my mic and I'm going to play the video.
So the jury in the Arbery case got the verdict right today, just like the jury got the verdict right in the Rittenhouse case. These jurors are our peers. They're our fellow Americans. And these verdicts show in both these cases how these jurors had the intelligence and the honesty to make the right decision based on examining evidence and facts, not based on race or politics. So these examples directly undermine the woke narrative that Americans are stupid and racist. Because if America was a racist country, like some people say that it is, Arbery's killers would not have been found guilty by a nearly all-white jury in Georgia. Now, most Americans, people of all races, truly believe in and are inspired by Dr. Martin Luther King's adage that we are all God's children. And as such, we should judge each other based on the content of our character, not the color of our skin.
Okay. A couple of things I want to say here, and then I'm going to show you the backlash that she received on Twitter by someone who is a very notable person. First and foremost, here's the mistake that she's making. Number one, Tulsi Gabbard is using one case to basically characterize Americans. Because of what happened in this case, because of the verdict, because the jury did the right thing, she is now saying that America's not a racist country. Americans are not racist. This is one case. She is leaving out the fact, and I mentioned this earlier on FHL, or excuse me, on RBN. She is leaving out the fact that the reason Ahmaud Arbery was hunted down and killed in the first place, the reason they chased after him, and they said this in the courtroom, because they saw a black man running. So just because the jury did the right thing, which they're supposed to do that anyway. Like, this is what's killing me about people being like, yay, woo. They're supposed to do the right thing. Just because the verdict turned out the right way in this one case in Georgia, that does not mean that there still aren't a lot of racist people in this country. And I know it. I've met them. Because you see, when I was growing up, I used to think that too. I used to think that, no, it's not that many racist people around. Then I got older and I met a lot of people. And I realized that we as a society have to distinguish the difference between overt racism and covert racism. Most of the time, the cases that we hear about on the news and mainstream media, and we don't hear about all of them, FYI. All of them don't make it on CNN and MSNBC, just to let you know. Some of them stay local and remain local. I'll give you an example really quick. There was a little black boy who was, a group of students in New Hampshire tried to hang him. Didn't hear about that on CNN or MSNBC. You see what I'm saying? So what we have to understand is that a lot of the racist incidents that we hear about, that's overt racism. That is the type of racism that is, it's out there in front of you. It's in your face. It's loud. It's bold. Really cannot be disputed as anything else. It's the Klansmen. It's the white supremacists. It's the skinheads that are like, it's the people who have the Confederate flag and they have these little signs that say white people shouldn't apologize for being white. By the way, I saw people wear t-shirts like that when I was in school. Wasn't that long ago. That's overt. Covert racism is often more common and often less talked about. And that is the type of racism that I usually see happen in the Northeast. It's more subtle, it's more hidden, and it can easily be described as something else. For example, it's being black in Boston and being in predominantly white spaces and being completely ignored. Going to a restaurant, going to a bar here and not being acknowledged, being completely ignored by the hostess, being completely ignored by the bartender. That's an example of covert racism. It's walking down the street and having someone smoking a cigarette and all these people have walked past them, but they decide to blow the smoke in your face, the black person. There was a woman in New Hampshire had a story about this as to why she wanted to leave New Hampshire, because every place she would go to, she was more than often shown that she wasn't welcome there. No one was going around calling her the N-word or anything, but they would do other things like what I just told you about, those examples. That happens a lot here. It's not talked about that often. The type of racism that I mainly saw in the South was overt racism. And I've always told people that covert racism is actually harder to deal with because they can easily say it was something else. For example, if you go to the bar and the bartender chooses to ignore you, well, the bartender can easily say, I didn't see them standing there, even though we know they did. It's trying to go to a nightclub here and being like the first few people in line and they just open, and all of a sudden, when it's time to let the black people in, they don't have any room. So you leave. But if you stay in line, one of the things I've seen is you'll see them let white people behind you in. Now, do they come out and say, hey, we don't want any black people here? No. And that's the thing. They can excuse it as something else because they didn't blatantly say that to you. It was the things like when I was in college and I remember certain people they wouldn't let in. We had this thing called ladies' night. Ladies' night was cool because it was like dollar drinks for anything, any drink, whether you wanted a mixed drink, whether you wanted a beer. So like a lot of guys would like to come to ladies' night because they knew, hey, I can buy cheap drinks for all these girls. They used to have all these rules as to why you could not enter. And one thing I noticed is it seemed like me, all the rules tend to apply to black people. So like couldn't wear a white t-shirt, couldn't wear baggy jeans, couldn't wear a hat. Like the restrictions went really far. But then you'd get into the club and you'd see white guys in there with baseball caps on. But you told the black guys that tried to get in that they couldn't come in because they had on a baseball cap. These things happen often in this country. Yeah, as Aya said, they're dress codes. And it was always funny to me because, like I said, you would see them let other people in who were not black, who had on all those things. So Tulsi Gabbard's statement, the fact that this one case, this one trial here, okay, the jury did the right thing. That doesn't mean we still don't have a lot of racist people in this country. It was interesting to me that she wanted to bring up Dr. Martin Luther King's name because someone a lot closer to Dr. King than she was had something to say about that. Let me share my screen. They were not too fond of Tulsi's tweet either. Listen to this. Bernice King. Do you know who Bernice King is? Bernice King is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s daughter. She's MLK's daughter. So she saw Tulsi Gabbard's tweet. This is what she had to say. It's unfortunate that people persist in using my father to push the false peace narrative that this nation is beyond racism. Here we go. As a reminder, here is a video of how police treated Travis McMichael right after he murdered Ahmaud. I'm going to show you that video in just a second. She goes on to say, and I also remind you that local authorities in Glenn County did not seek justice in the case. People protested and the GBI had to step in. Let's keep working for justice until there are no trials concerning white men murdering black people simply because they are black. When you get called out by MLK's daughter for using her dad's name in such a way, that's embarrassing. And she's right. Because there's been several times I've seen people do this. Well, as MLK would say, or what would MLK do? What would MLK think about that? He just got called out by his daughter. Okay? Tulsi Gabbard doesn't want to talk about what happened before those men were found guilty. Before those men were found guilty, after they killed Ahmaud Arbery, they weren't even arrested. By the time most of us heard about this situation, It was after George Floyd, but this incident happened months prior. Those guys were still walking freely. Still walking freely. How was that even possible? Oh, they were making a citizen's arrest. Well, apparently that law wasn't so great, right? Because Georgia got rid of it. Last time I checked, if you're arresting someone, you're not killing them. That wasn't an arrest, right? Let's see the video. This is the video that Bernice King is referring to. I want you to watch the way that the police treat him. Keep in mind, he already killed someone who was unarmed that he chased after because he said he saw a black man running. Those were their words in court, not mine, not something I'm thinking up on my own. Those were their words in court. Listen to this.
Okay.
If you would have stopped, this would
I
have
know.
happened.
That's fine. That's fine. Like I said, just take a breath. You got your ID and all that. No, don't get blood all over yourself. That's. I mean, I get that your pants are. You need to move around. Do what you need to do, man. That's.
You guys listening to this? She tells him, it's okay. Take a breath. Take a breath. Don't get blood all over your hands. Take a breath. Really? He just killed someone. They treat black men who are unarmed, who didn't kill anybody, 10 times worse than this. I'll let the video play on.
I can only imagine. You got anybody who wants to call for you?
I live right there. We've had break-ins
Okay.
and a gun stolen.
Okay.
And we caught him the other day. And Dad was outside and saw him running by. And the neighbors pointing and everything. So
Saw who running by?
him.
Okay.
So we run out to stop him to talk to him.
Mhm.
He took off running. Came over here. Stopped. He come out of the truck running at us. I told him stop till he hit me. I had nothing to do. There's nothing else I can do.
I got you.
So he goes on to say there was nothing else that he could do. He said he hit me. There was nothing else he could do. Now, when I was growing up and someone hit you, that was called a fight. You hit them back. Someone punch you, you punch them back. Someone kick you, you kick them back. You don't take your gun and kill them. This is what it's come to in this country. I'll let it go on.
Dispatch 136.
Like I said, we're gonna take some photos of you, and then we'll let you get cleaned up. I know. I can only imagine. Like I said.
She goes on to say, we're going to let you get cleaned up. Really? She goes on to say, I can only imagine. Imagine what? You weren't there. What? You got one person's word here. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. What are you talking about? You see what I'm saying? They are already on his side. Already just like that. He barely has to explain himself. He gets to go clean himself up.
You're also. We're gonna give you a ride to headquarters. You're gonna talk to some investigators.
Wouldn't happen to a black guy. Wouldn't happen. Wouldn't happen. Shouldn't have been chasing after him in the first place. Call the police. You care about them. Come on. You're like back the blue. You care about the police so much. Call the police if you believe they do such a good job. But no. And again, like I said, the police officer was already on his side. Didn't see anything. Didn't see the incident. Automatically, that quickly, his word was believed. It's disgusting. But Tulsi says this isn't an issue. She's still saying that people aren't really, this isn't a problem. We don't have a race problem in this country. Now, I want to remind you of something that Tulsi Gabbard said a while back. because she seems to think that some of us have forgotten. I didn't forget. I watched all of the Democratic primary debates. And I remember Tulsi saying this, and I'm going to play it for you to remind you as well. Because I want to remind you of who Tulsi was. I don't know who Tulsi Gabbard is today. But the more and more I hear from her lately, she sounds more and more like she's a Republican. She's using the same talking points that they use. Listen to this. I just want to jog your memory just a little bit. Just a little bit. Remember when Tulsi said this about the criminal justice system in this country? Here we go. Oh, look, there's Kamala Harris, the cop. Here we go.
What's your response?
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting Black and brown people all across this country today.
What's your response?
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting Black and brown people all across this country today.
I'm sorry. One more time. One more time for the people in the back.
What's your response?
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting Black and brown people all across this country today.
That was actually a good debate night for Tulsi. She destroyed Kamala in that debate. Called Kamala basically everything as a cop. Called out her flaws, called out things that she did in reference to marijuana, how she criminalized Black people, which was all true. But in that video, she admitted to you that the criminal justice system disproportionately affects Black and brown people. That's when she was running as Democrat. She admitted that to you right there. I'm gonna go to some of the comments in the chat. I don't know who Tulsi Gabbard is today. I don't know who she is. I don't know who she's trying to be. Maybe this is who she was all along and she was just playing us before. Maybe she's switching gears because she sees she has more of a lane on the right because she's been on Fox News a lot recently. Maybe that's what she's doing. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to some of the comments in the chat. Phenomenal Mysticism says, I don't think that Marjorie Taylor Greene would accept Tulsi Gabbard as a member of the Republican Party. Greene would consider Tulsi too left-wing for her taste. LOL. Oh boy. Oh boy. Daniel Young said Tulsi is reactionary. She never was a leftist. So maybe this was the thing, right? Maybe she never was to begin with. I remember her saying, when she was growing up, like back in the day, she didn't approve of gay people, but she changed her stance on that later on. And I'm not faulting her for that. People grow, they change. But I'm starting to wonder here if maybe this is who she was all along. Matthew says, I think Tulsi is just in it for the money. Where she lived, there was more money in Democrat politics. Now, as a commentator, the money is on the right. She's just a con artist. I don't know. I don't know what's happening here. I will say, it's just, you get called out by MLK's daughter, man. Like, there's just no. Mac and B said she might have no choice since most of the Democratic Party is pushing policies further left than she wants, and Republicans are too right for her. You know what's interesting? Something I want to bring up in reference to moving too far left. Tulsi Gabbard actually had a reparations plan when she was running for president. You didn't really get to hear about it because they didn't talk to her about that during the debates. Her and Marianne Williamson had a reparations plan. The other candidates on the stage didn't. Some would argue that Tulsi Gabbard's Medicare for All plan or healthcare plan was actually better than Bernie Sanders. Don't know. She didn't really get a chance to really talk about that because when that question came up on the debate stage, remember Tulsi wasn't at all the debates for one, because meeting the qualifications, which that was done on purpose, but she wasn't at all the debates. But when that question came up, most of the focus was on Bernie. Now, before I told you this tonight, how many of you knew that Tulsi Gabbard also had a plan for universal health care? How many of you knew that Tulsi Gabbard had a reparations plan? How many of you knew that? I don't know. I don't know. Aya said she can run third party. Why do none of these people have the balls to run a third party? And she won't do that. You see, because what happened before, when Bernie was running against Hillary and Tulsi decided to back Bernie Sanders instead of Hillary Clinton, that was not a part of the plan. That actually was not supposed to happen because see, Tulsi Gabbard, they wanted to tap her in next. She was seen as a darling to the DNC. They had a plan for her. And when she decided to back Bernie Sanders instead of Hillary Clinton, that plan went right out the window. Right out the window. And I think Tulsi saw that. This is why she didn't get much airtime when she was running for president. This is why when she went on The View, they were very hostile towards her. This is why a lot of them were trying to smear her. Once she made that decision, she was considered an enemy of the DNC. They were never going to let her get further than she did. Never. So I don't blame her. Like if she does want to run again, I don't blame her for not running as a Democrat. Like I told you guys, like screw, both of these parties suck. Both of them. They're both corporate. They both care about corporations. They're both pro-war. I'm not about that. I wish we did have more attention on third-party candidates. We have to get outside of the duopoly. They're both corrupt. They're both corrupt. And even trying to run as a progressive in these parties, and I've said this before, just as Democrats is corrupt now. They're taking dark money. They're taking money from George Soros. So you really can't, the lane, both of these lanes, you get to a dead end. Shama Sawant told us. Shama Sawant told you the road as a progressive through the Democratic Party leads to a graveyard. I don't know. But Tulsi is just different. She's not the same. And I refuse to sit here and pretend like she is. She's saying different things now than what she said when she was running for president. Look, I'm going to be real with you. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what's actually happening. And I refuse to sit here and to allow you guys to believe that the two-party system is working. It's not working, and it hasn't been working for a long time. And I think this is the difference with me. I don't have anybody I'm beholden to. I don't have a sponsor. I don't have, corporate. I'm not on the corporate algorithm. I'm not TYT. I don't have anybody to answer to. I don't have anybody like Jeffrey Katzenberg that gave me all these donations. I can say what I want. And I've told you guys this before. Some of these people, they're still trying to keep you in the Democratic Party. That's why do you think they're so opposed to third parties? As soon as you bring up third parties, I don't think it's going to work. It's a bad idea. It shouldn't work. I don't think it's a bad idea. No, you shouldn't do that. You got to do it through the Democratic Party. I don't know. So if you're new, that is one thing I will tell you about me. You may not hear what you want to hear when you come on here. I'm just being honest. If you're watching people who are given these talking points that the way to do it and the way to win is through the Democratic Party, you may be disappointed with what you hear me say on this channel and what you hear Revolutionary Blackout say as well. Because we're all connected. Because I'm going to tell you that, again, we've been doing this 80-20 rule, 80% electoral politics, 20% direct action mutual aid. I think we need to put more focus on direct action and mutual aid and less focus on electoral politics because it's not really getting us anywhere. What have we won? What's going on? You see, the people who are winning right now, who are getting these small wins, are people who are uniting with labor. It's the workers who are rising up. I just saw today one of the Walmarts in North Carolina just went on strike. This is going to continue. This is going to continue. This is how you win. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, yes, the path forward and the way to us winning is by putting another person in office and crossing our fingers and hoping that they do the right thing and hoping that they put pressure on Nancy Pelosi or whoever else is in that spot, because eventually one day it'll be another person and it'll just be another rotating villain and they'll continue to do it over and over. And then it'll be another 4 years and another 4 years and another 4 years. And the next thing you know, you'll be 60 years old, 70 years old, and you still didn't get shit. Welcome to my Friday streams, you guys. It's a little bit more different. Shout out to Roger Meadows for the tip on Rockfin. I think Tulsi, like a typical politician, is an opportunist who adopts the language of what is popular, but has shown her racial blind spot doing what most whites do by personalizing one-on-one relationships instead of looking at the system as a whole. Their world viewpoint is framed by the SNL 80 skit done by Piscopo and Murphy cosplaying Sinatra and Stevie singing Ebony and Ivory. Shout out to Ronnie Graham for the tip on Rockfin. Sabby, you are my favorite as an Asmar Queen. Thanks for your work. Oh, are you talking about those people that like whisper in the microphone and they're like, do I do that, you guys? Do I do? Let's see if it works. Here's my glass. Can you guys hear this? Does that sound like? You are now getting very sleepy. You are now getting very sleepy. Everybody go to sleep. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Let me quit. Banana Bread said, stop this now. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Pitchforks are coming and said, I'm still here. I'm not getting sleepy. It doesn't work for me either. I tried listening to that one time before and I was more distracted by like what they were doing in the video than actually focusing on like going to sleep. I will, horny unicorn. I will. Cheers. Cheers. Thank you so much. Okay, thanks, Eric. I'll read the rest of the tips on Rockfin at the end. Thanks so much. Yeah. UG Magazine said 65 or 70. Yay, I can finally go to the doctor, but still no dentist appointments. I told you guys often on the show how I feel about the teeth. It's very important that you take care of your teeth and how it can cause other problems with your body. But apparently, the government doesn't seem to think that our teeth are that important. Sad. It's really sad. So that's Tulsi Gabbard, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. She's been making some cringe statements. I don't know what's going on. I really don't. But somebody else has been getting attacked the past couple of weeks. I'm like, what did Joe Rogan do now? What did he do now? Hit that like button, guys. All right. I'm going to share my screen because I just can't keep up with it. Like, really. But apparently now Joe Rogan is being attacked for being far right. Here we go. All right. So Glenn Greenwald tweeted this in reference to a tweet from Anna Merlin in reference to a Vice article. So I'm going to go through this. So Glenn Greenwald said the claim that Joe Rogan, a supporter of Bernie Sanders, an anti-imperialist, a crusader against factory farms, etc., is of the far right, is the kind of stupidity in which liberals specialize. Let's try to expel the most influential media figure and insist he's our enemy. Yikes. And of course, he goes on to say, watch this brilliant crystal ball segment on the unspeakable stupidity of this tactic. Rational political movements try to expand the range of those who identify with them. The liberal left so often looks for ways to expel as many people as possible. Rogan has an audience of millions. You can't change that. The only choices you have, one, engage with that huge audience to build common ground, or two, create climate where nobody on the liberal left can go there, ceding it all to the right. Those who want to lose, choose. Two, also, the only point of this Vice article is to pressure corporate sponsors and Spotify to disassociate themselves with Rogan or force them to limit what he can say. Again, note how often the priority of liberals, especially journalists, is to restrict the range of views. Okay, let's see what's in the Vice article. So I have that here. Let me share my screen. I should give you a little backstory about where this is coming from. Recently, Joe Rogan was on Tim Pool's podcast with Alex Jones. I don't know if you guys have seen that stream, but it was really funny. Like I've seen part of it, haven't gotten through all of it yet. But it's really funny. Mac and Bree said Rogan is not right wing. Yeah, I don't think so either. Leroy says Karen tactics. Oh my God. Oh my God. Super Patriot says that Joe Rogan reminds me of Dave Chappelle, untouchable. All right. Well, let's see what Vice said, because they're the ones that started this. And I don't know why they're coming after him, but here we go. Joe Rogan is everyone else's problem. The UFC, Spotify, and other mainstream entities continue to make money from Rogan, are content to ignore his growing ties with the far right. Oh, man. Get this a little bit bigger. All right. As November wears on, Joe Rogan has begun to inhabit more fully than ever what can best be described as a double life. Okay. I'm sorry, this is funny already. On November 16th, he appeared on a far right YouTuber Tim Pool's show, sitting alongside conspiracy king Alex Jones, extremely red-pilled, self-proclaimed anarchist, author, and podcaster Michael Malice, Drew Hernandez, a right-wing commentator, most recently seen testifying at Kyle Rittenhouse trial, and Blair White, another far-right YouTuber. They kill me with this far-right stuff. Earlier this month, Rogan also returned from a 4-month hiatus to begin working as an on-air talent for UFC events, when he wasn't busy giving Aaron Rodgers terrible pseudo medical advice. Let me scroll down. God, this is such a dig. This is a dig. So apparently, Rogan's increasingly prominent role in extremist spaces and as a major promoter of ivermectin and unproven treatment for the 1-9 is coming into direct confrontation with his role as a mainstream sports commentator and linchpin of Spotify's podcast empire. And no one making money from the latter half of the equation seems to mind a bit. All right, let's go down here. This is more about Spotify. You guys know about his whole talks about like ivermectin and the 1-9. All right. And now he's palling around with Tim Pool and Alex Jones, who particularly enamored of Rogan in their joint appearance on Pool's show. Jones said at one point, "I'm kissing Joe's ass because he's a political genius." This was, it should be mentioned, a particularly fraught time to share a stage with Jones, who lost by default all of the cases brought against him by grieving Sandy Hook parents, whose children he persistently claimed for years had been a part of a giant hoax, a false flag, as he put it, carried out by crisis actors. Okay. Appearing in a friendly chat with Alex Jones virtually any time in the last 20 years is a statement. In this particular month, it's far more pointed of a message. Oh boy. The gang also claimed that, oh, you guys know I got to be careful with this because of YouTube. But the gang basically claimed that the jab, is ineffective. I'm going to just go down here. Okay. Acknowledging Rogan's growing star in the far right universe seemingly isn't in its business interests. Oh, here we go. Hold on. I skipped this part. These days, however, UFC is owned by the publicly traded company Endeavor Group Holdings, the chief executive of which is Ari Emanuel, brother of former Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel. Oh my God, that guy is the worst. Rahm Emanuel is the worst. Ugh. Sorry. Anywho, who's on track to become ambassador to Japan. Endeavor is recovering from a brutal last year and is making several moves to stem the bleeding, including reportedly tapping Elon Musk to sit on its board. Oh, God help them. Musk is yet another friend and frequent guest of Rogan's. Acknowledging Rogan's growing star in the far right universe seemingly isn't in its business interest. Wow. All of which brings us to a rather surreal state of affairs where Rogan will, with one hand, continue making an increasingly outlandish set of claims surrounded by an increasingly troubling set of bad actors, while with the other will apparently continue to appear on ESPN as the face of the UFC, a globally popular sport that keeps growing its reach and his star power. That state of affairs, for the time being, doesn't seem to bother anyone with decision-making power. After all, it's our problem, not theirs. Okay, let's talk about this. I personally don't think that Joe Rogan is far right. But I do feel like anytime you talk to someone on the right, you're perceived as being on the right, or it's like you're some kind of traitor, and I've always told you guys this multiple times. We need to talk to people outside of our circles. I don't just talk to people on the left. I don't just talk to people who are Dems. I don't just talk to independents. I don't just talk to people. I talk to everybody, and we may not always agree, but that's how we learn from each other. And I've found that some people on the right actually agree with some of the issues that we're fighting for on the left. I've told you guys this before. There's people on the right that I've met that also think we should have healthcare for everybody. Now, they may not agree with Bernie Sanders' bill, but they do, most of them that I've talked to do believe that we should have healthcare for everyone in this country. So the point that I'm trying to make is if you don't have those conversations with those people, it's easy to just believe what CNN and Fox News tells you. It's easy to believe that they don't want any of those things. And I'm here to tell you that's not necessarily the case. I'm going to go to some of the comments in the chat. This is really funny. Oh, boy. Gene says, interesting, the drug they just developed, $700 for a 5-day treatment is very much like ivermectin, but different enough for a patent, perhaps. Interesting. The Young City 23 says, I think Rogan is kind of dumb, which is, excuse me, which is definitely a closely held conservative value. Oh, man. Oh, man. Super Patriot says, censorship is for the weak. Other Side Steve said, Alice Jones was a part of January 6th. We need to talk to lots of people, but not waste time with bad actors. That's a good point as well. The Dude Gaming says, Joe Rogan is not right. I watch his show. The only people that call him right don't watch. It's a good point. That's a good point. Eckham says, Joe Rogan equals far right. Gets me every time. LOL. Oh. Eric Thomas said, we are all peasants to the top 0.1%. It's true. It's true. It's true. Horny Unicorn says, by the way, I love that name. Musk is a shameless, brutal capitalist, but hardly far right. I don't really know how Elon Musk feels politically. I've never heard him say if he was a Democrat, Republican, Independent, or whichever, but I know he's been trolling Bernie Sanders, though, on Twitter, which has been painful to watch. But yeah. Joy Duncan said, Trigonometry, a favorite with right-leaning people, had the same segment about Joe Rogan as Sabby is doing. Interesting. I didn't know that. I've never heard of that, but I'm willing to check it out, but I've never heard of Trigonometry. A lot of things I haven't heard of, though. There's a lot of channels on YouTube, just keeping it real. Let's see. There's a lot of comments in the chat, you guys. Lightly. Harry said Kim Iverson went on Dim Tools. Oh, come on, Harry. Dim Tools show a few months back and stayed at his place. And he told her he considers himself center left. Really? I can't stand him, but his online persona obviously most an act. Interesting. Kim Iverson was on here. I wish I knew that, Harry. I would have asked her about that. Ah, Harry. Harry. Other Side Steve said, Sabby, you and I agree, though we have to talk to folks in our inner circles, especially the ones we think we don't agree with. Yeah, I mean, that's how we're going to learn, you guys. That's how we're going to learn. Listen, how do you guys think I convinced people? Let me see. How do you guys think I convinced people to vote for Bernie Sanders? I convinced people to vote for Bernie Sanders that were not going to vote for Bernie. One of them is my mom. My mom's a boomer. My mom was not going to vote for Bernie. My mom didn't even really know who Bernie was. And so I got her into like watching the debates and like talking to her about it more and more. Friends of mine that were all set to vote for Joe Biden. Friends of mine that were all set to vote for Booty. I really gotta stop calling him that. Pete. How do you guys think I was able to convince them to vote for Bernie Sanders? I had to have those conversations with people. I had to have those conversations with people that we didn't really agree on a lot of things. We didn't have the same political ideology. I had to have conversations with people that were on the right, people that were moderate. And I'm going to tell you a little secret. It was actually easier for me to convince people on the right to vote for Bernie than it was to convince people who were Biden stands. Because what I found is that it seemed like Democrats that were moderates, they were more convinced by the media smear tactics against Bernie Sanders than people were on the right that I talked to. People on the right that I talked to, can't speak for everybody, that I spoke to, they were more willing to see past the media bias. Whereas people who were Democrats and that were moderate Democrats and they're like Obama forever, Hillary forever, they were not as easy to talk to. I'm just going to be honest with you. Just keeping it real. But like I said, I wouldn't have known that if I didn't have those conversations with them. So I told you guys, I'm willing to talk to whoever, even like, I don't have to agree with people. I don't agree with anyone on everything. I don't agree with my best friend on everything. My husband and I don't agree on everything. I don't know anyone who has a relationship with someone where they agree on everything. That seems kind of boring. I don't know. That's just me though. That's just me. Monique, who would vote for Pete? Yo, no, there were a good amount of Pete supporters. You'd be surprised. There were a good amount of them. I mean, I kind of saw right through Pete. He just seemed really fake to me. Yes, we got to go out there and we got to win. We got to do what we're going to do. And I remember just thinking to myself, like, this guy is so fake. Danielle said, I convinced my mom to vote for Princess Blanding in Virginia. She's never voted non-Dem ever before that. Awesome, Danielle. And for those who don't know, Princess Blanding was a third-party candidate that was running for governor of Virginia. She ran through the Liberation Party. We got to tell people about those candidates. She came on here and she was awesome. Like, we gotta prop that up. And I have another third-party candidate that is going to be coming on soon, actually. So stay tuned for that. I don't know what this is about. Aya said Pinocchio Pete wants to be a real politician. Oh man. I don't know. My face looks really shiny. I think that's just the ring light. That is the ring light. I need a new one. Oh dear. But anyway, long story short, I don't think that Joe Rogan is a far right person. Like, I can't. I don't know. Like I told you, once you start talking to people on the other side, they say the same thing about Jimmy Dore. Anytime people see Jimmy Dore on like Tucker Carlson, they're like, Jimmy Dore is actually far right. And I'm just like, man, you guys don't want us to talk to anyone except for people who are in our circles and believe exactly what we believe. Here's a little secret. Not everybody on the left, not everyone that's progressive agrees about everything politically. Just something to think about. So Joe Rogan has been having a hard time. I think I've done like 3 or 4 shows with Joe Rogan being one of the news stories in the past 3 or 4 weeks. Like, he's just been having a tough go at it. But to each his own. Saying it here, I don't believe that Joe Rogan is far right. I think this is being taken too far. Smash that like button, guys, when you get a chance. And considering that Joe Rogan has been getting a lot of attention and a lot of attacks, Dave Chappelle is back in the spotlight again because he is also being attacked again. Let me get into this story. For those who don't know, Dave Chappelle made a surprise appearance at his former high school. It was a surprise. I think that Dave was expecting a warm welcome, some excitement from the students. I mean, imagine like Dave Chappelle just showing up at your school. Like, you're just in class minding your own business, and here comes Dave Chappelle. Unfortunately, didn't really turn out that way. Listen to this. Dave Chappelle called a bigot during surprise stop at former high school. Oh, man. Oh, boy. And there's Dave's expression there. It's almost like you can feel what he's feeling. I don't know. Here we go. So Dave Chappelle made a surprise appearance at his high school alma mater in Washington, D.C. earlier this week. And let's just say he didn't receive the warmest welcome. According to a Playbook, the polarizing comedian performed for students and teachers of the Duke Ellington School for the Arts, where he received his diploma more than 30 years ago. Following his performance, Chappelle conducted a Q&A session. Oh boy. With a 600-person crowd and was immediately slammed for his controversial jokes about the trans community. Here we go. One 16-year-old student reportedly took the mic and called Chappelle a bigot who had handled criticism like a child. The teen was seemingly referring to the backlash Chappelle faced over The Closer, his latest Netflix special that included remarks that were widely considered transphobic. Was it widely considered? Do you guys think it was widely considered transphobic? Because when I see words like that in articles, I just want to make sure they're not exaggerating. You know what I mean? Do you think it was widely considered that way? Anybody? Anybody? I don't know. Let me go on. The comedian responded to the students' comments, which were confirmed by his spokesperson, with an unapologetic tone. My friend, with all due respect, I don't believe you could make one of the decisions I have to make on a given day. Following the premiere of The Closer, a number of activists and LGBTQ advocacy groups called on Netflix to pull the special from its service. Some of the most controversial moments in the show included Chappelle declaring himself Team TERF and stating gender is a fact. For those who don't know, TERF is trans exclusionary radical feminists. I'm not going to play it on here. Another student reportedly told Chappelle his comedy kills. Oh my God, this is brutal. This is brutal, you guys. Echo J said maybe 30 to 40% negative criticism. Okay. I didn't think it was widely. That's why it was, I don't know. But this is brutal. One student told him his comedy kills. He allegedly fired back with the N-word are killed every day before asking, the media's not here, right? Oh, man. Oh, God. This is brutal. According to Politico, one student had walked out during the event, prompting Chappelle to call her out while at the mic. Of course, she left early, he reportedly said. God. Oh my God. A spokesperson for the school told the outlet some of the students were supportive of Chappelle, but felt as though they weren't given the opportunity to express their views. During the conversation with students and staff, Chappelle specifically invited the voices of discontent to ask questions. However, as a result, the supporters of Chappelle became the silent majority. Our principal was approached by several students after the assembly who were disappointed that they were not able to voice their support for Chappelle in this forum. That's interesting. That's interesting. The school announced Chappelle's visit several weeks ago, but postponed the event to next April after students threatened to walk out. During his appearance, Chappelle reportedly expressed his support for the students who had planned to protest and spoke out against the threats they received in the following days. His whole tone changed, one student recalled. He said, "This is my family, and whether they know it or not, I love these kids. I don't want to hear about any threats to these kids. These kids don't deserve that." He was really kind. If only he had acted this way the whole time. There was no reason to be mean at us. He was just laughing at kids. Okay. Carmen said, "No, I don't think he did anything wrong. No, that is stupid. Internationally, they were supportive of him as a comedian. We are an intolerant bunch of ignorant, authoritarian people. He has my support." Wow, man. You know, do you guys think it was appropriate to have this discussion at the high school? I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't have kids. If you're in the chat and you have teenagers, do you think that was appropriate? Jay said, didn't Dave Chappelle pay to renovate his old high school? So yeah, probably not the homecoming he expected. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. Echo J said, sorry, but I believe most children don't do much other than parrot what their parents, media, and friends say. I'd laugh at you too with that selective outrage, and I hated his Comedy Central show. Oh, man. Oh, man. What should Dave Chappelle do at this point? This is the question I have for everyone. At this point in the game, he's spoken out about this twice, went to the high school, and it seemed like they let most of the students who disagreed with what he did, it seems like they got the floor, whereas the students who supported him didn't really get to speak. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but it's kind of a skewed thing there, because it will give someone like Dave Chappelle the impression that the majority are against him if he's not getting a chance to hear from the ones who are supporters of his. But what do you think at this point? What should Dave Chappelle do? Do you think he should take a break? Do you think he should have an open forum about this? Do you think he should host some kind of special? Do you think he needs to apologize? Do you think what should he do? Because this is obviously not going away anytime soon. Go into some of the comments in the chat. Ashura said Dave needs to keep on trucking. Cecilia's laughing at the pic. Oh. Pookie Wood said Dave is a rich guy. He's going to be okay. That's a good point too. Gene said, I'm a teacher. I don't talk to teens that way. He's an idiot. We have difference of opinions in the chat. Eric Thomas said high school kids should be asking questions, not calling people out. Oof. Oh, man. Valerie said he should just keep doing him. D Apprehensive One said, continue being Dave Chappelle. Remember, he did have trans open for the Netflix special. That's a good point. Captain Obvious says Dave Chappelle should have on the ghost of Rick James. Should have on the ghost of Rick James. Oh my God. Oh boy. Horny Unicorn, you worried about Chappelle, Sabrina? Come on, man. I don't want to say that I'm necessarily worried about him per se, because I don't know him personally, but I'm just wondering at this point, is there something else that he should do to make this better? Or is that even possible? At this point, is it even possible? I don't know. I remember when Eminem had the comments that he had about gay people. Some of you guys might be a little young in the chat and may not remember this, but Eminem was notorious for saying bad things about gay people in his music, and he was called out on it. People were like, cancel Eminem. I remember this too. Sometimes I feel like it wasn't that long ago. And Eminem's response to it was doing a performance with Elton John. And at the end of the performance, they locked hands and raised their hands up in the air and said, what did he said something about unity, or anyway, he said something to express that to let people know, listen, I don't hate gay people. And that worked for him. And he just kept moving along after that. I don't know if he needs to do something as a grand gesture as that, but it worked for Eminem. The Deaf Bartender, thanks so much for the super chat. people are unaware of the indoctrination of their children into the gender identity cult. High school is the most important place for him to have it. That's a good point. Thanks so much for the super chat. Lieutenant the Third said, in religious term, Black community is very, very church going. Is it new to you, posh liberal? I don't know what posh liberal is, but you might be talking to someone else. You might be. Ryan76 says, reboot Chappelle Show 2022. I don't even think we could today. Like, I actually liked Chappelle Show. I thought it was hilarious. I think some people overdid it. Like, the number of times I had friends and just random people who would say I'm Rick James. Like, it was all the time, you guys. Even when Rick James had nothing to do with the conversation. Shira says he should have said in his Rick James voice, I'm Dave Chappelle, bitch. But I think back to like some of the skits that were on Chappelle Show. I don't even think we could do it today. I don't know. Some of them I don't even think I can talk about on here. But I remember during the Chappelle Show, like Dave Chappelle made fun of everyone. Literally everyone. But they had a skit where like Dave Chappelle was a blind white supremacist and he was part of the KKK. Like, I don't even think we could do that today. I don't know. Hey, Sue said, I think he needs a one-way trip to Africa with a doobie-doobie-doo. Oh, man. Dave Chappelle, for those who don't know, after Chappelle Show, and he was offered, I think it was $50 million or something like that. It was a lot of money. And he was offered that. And he decided not to take it. Everyone started calling him crazy. He went to Africa and just kind of peaced out. And like, you didn't hear from him for a while. And then I remember I saw Dave Chappelle. They said Dave Chappelle was doing a Netflix special. I was like, Dave Chappelle's back? Harry said, I came out in 1995. Homophobia was everywhere and widely acceptable. I've been amazed and very glad how rapidly things have changed. Even Republicans aren't anti-queer now. You're in Australia, right, Harry? Because in America, you know. Yeah, we couldn't do this one today, man. We couldn't do it today, Ryan in 76. R. Kelly, I want to pee on you video was great. We could not do that today. Oh, God. Oh, boy. D Apprehensive One said you can't do any skit from the Chappelle Show or in Living Color today. A Living Color was another one. I think I mentioned that one time on the show before where like you might be able to do Homie. No, you probably wouldn't be able to do Homie Don't Play That because he was hitting kids in the head. You can't do Men in Film or Men on Film. No, that would be really much shot down. Yeah, you're right. I don't think you'd be able to do most of those today. Oh, man. Charlie Murphy. Yes, and rest in peace. Charlie Murphy was awesome on Chappelle Show. It's funny, too, because for a long time, I didn't know that those stories that Rick James was telling, like that Charlie Murphy was talking about on Chappelle Show, those were real stories. Like, they really did play basketball with Prince. Rick James actually did hang out with Eddie Murphy. And apparently they had some wild nights. So, yeah. Then when I found out it was true, it made it even more funny because I was like, what? Like, how does this even happen? I don't know. But yeah, a lot of those things that I grew up watching, we would not be able to, I don't think we would be able to have it on TV today. Just being honest with you guys. Things have definitely changed. I'm going to read these comments on Rockfin, and then I have some good news to show you guys. Like I said, I'm trying to do this thing where I end on a positive note. So I want to keep up that. So let me go up here. Roger Meadows, thanks for the tip. Daniel from Hardlands Media told me for every $10 YouTube super chat, which only allows 200 characters, for YouTube chatters, they only make $2.80. But for a $2 Rockfin message, which allows 400 characters, The show host keeps 95% to 98%. Meanwhile, YouTube wants $50 for a $300 character message, 300 character message. It was made clear by YouTube CEO she does not want political independent thinking that goes against or questions MSM narrative on her platform. Sab, by not encouraging all of your YouTube live chatters to go over and message you on Rockfin, you're encouraging them to finance their own demise. But the most important thing, where did it go? It jumped up. It moved. It moved. Uh-oh, I lost it. Hold on. Oh, but the most important thing is that YouTube is corporate, but Rockfin is worker-owned cooperative. Yes, it's true. Guys, if you follow me on YouTube, make sure you also follow me on Rockfin. That is heavily important because every video that I have, all of my news and interviews vids I have on YouTube, they're also on Rockfin. That's very important that you do that. Because if one day they decide, YouTube decides, you know what, independent media, you're gone, I still have Rockfin. Same name on Rockfin. So you can find me on there. Thank you so much, Roger, for the super chat. Also, still looking forward to you doing the show on what I emailed September 4th when you said you'll be doing a show that week regarding, oh my gosh, this keeps moving. Hold on. I wish this didn't move. Okay. You'll be doing a show that week regarding what the minimum wage should be on state by state, municipal by municipal basis, according to the annual outreach project report. Yes, I still have to do that as well. Thank you for the reminder because I forget. Guys, I forget stuff all the time. I'm not kidding. I'm a very busy person here. Very busy person. I work full time and I do this. So thanks so much for the tip. I think, oh, I saw that one, the one about Tulsi. And then thanks for this one, Roger. In an interview, Tulsi agreed with Rubin when he said the biggest threat to the country is identity politics, gave me pause. Yet when in front of us, she speaks about the Pentagon as the biggest threat. To be honest, I could give two feces whether or not they like me. You don't want to see me in your space. I'm sorry, it keeps moving. You don't want to see me in your space. Fine, peace. Get those postal / public banks and worker co-ops going. We'll build wealth, opportunity, success here so we won't have to go elsewhere. And then thank you, Ronnie Graham, for the super chat. Oh, I saw that, the Asmar Queen. Tulsi sounds like another YouTube host that I emailed you about that you interviewed who does this, looking at racism through the lens of personal relationships while pretending that institutionalized racism doesn't exist, and went even further than Tulsi by thinking we don't deserve reparations because she thinks Black people are going to show up at her door asking for reparations. Thanks for the super chat, Roger Meadows. Thanks, Ronnie, for this, not super chat, the tip on Rockfin. In Europe, we all get free dental care, eye care, ear care. In fact, all medical care free of charge. The US is pathetic to put up with the situation. They need to stop with MSM BS. Yeah, I tell you guys, I lived in Germany. Like this is not an issue. Like this is not an issue. Oh boy. Ronnie Graham went on to say nobody is left out. Roger Meadows, thanks for the super chat, not super chat, the tip on Rockfin. Told you, Sab, last week, all those boomers in the South who come from our community and came out for Biden, who automatically trust people who are Black or Black adjacent because they think they'll look out for them. And now they are all sorry that they did. I feel so vindicated. I will never stop letting them know how they screwed over their grandchildren or younger. Well said, Roger Meadows. Well said. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? What can I say? I feel like I've been saying this, for a while now. It's just like just because someone's Black and they're a politician, that doesn't mean they're actually going to try to help do anything for Black people. I think a lot of us fell for that with Obama. Obama was my biggest disappointment. Biggest disappointment. I really had hope. I really did. I really thought things were going to change. And I refuse to make that I refuse to make that mistake again. Not going back down that road. I thought that, Bernie would be the game changer. But, the first time I should have known better. The second time I really should have known better. I should have known they were never going to let him make it that far. They were never going to let him be the nominee. And that's on me. And so this is why I tell you guys, if you still, want to fight for electoral politics, I think we need to go a different route. And I think we need to push third party. And it doesn't have to be the Green Party, but we need to push these independent candidates. And we need to start giving them more of a platform and more of a space. I'm just tired of the two-party system, and I just don't want to be a part of it anymore. And some people may say, well, that's being a bad faith actor, or no, dude, that's being a realist. Because we've seen this happen for decades and nothing is going to change. And the reason why it's not going to change in the two-party system is because they're both corporate. I told you guys, if you don't get the money out, this is never going to change. I don't see them getting the money out. And don't come tell me Justice Democrats, because I told you they're corrupt too. They're also taking dark money. Hi, Steve. Thanks so much for the super chat. We love you very much, Sabby Sabs. Oh, thanks so much. Thanks, Steve. I just can't, dude. And I've got the frizzies tonight, too. This is a mess. My hair is really frizzy. Yikes. Now you see why I hide it back. This is terrible. And there's a little bit of, look, I have to get a trim. I'm not sure if anyone ever asked, but do you speak German? I don't speak German anymore. I could speak German when I was a kid. That's what happens when you don't have anyone to speak it to. It's true. Like you don't actually have to go to a class and learn foreign language. I did do that with Spanish. So I took Spanish for 4 years, but I feel like you learn it a lot faster if you're talking to someone who speaks that language, just being honest with you. But when we first moved to Germany, we didn't live on base at that time because there wasn't base housing, and we lived in a house, and it was like a 2-level, like a multifamily unit. And so we lived upstairs, and a German lady and her husband lived on the first floor. And she was the one who started to teach me German. And I loved her. She used to give me cookies all the time. She's actually the reason why I love chocolate chip cookies. She used to make these chocolate chip cookies, man. I don't know if you guys have had like German chocolate, but their chocolate is not as sweet as American chocolate. So the cookies were like great, man. You could have like 3 of those cookies and they were not too sweet. Shout out to Roger for the tip on Rockfin. Third parties don't beat ballot initiatives. That's true too. But what I'm saying to people is, if you are still going to do electoral politics, I think you need to go with third party. I think you need to go with independent candidates, people who are not attached to the duopoly. But you're right. Ballot initiatives are very important. And those are things that we can fight for, you guys. Super Patriot, you probably learn it faster than a person that never heard it. Probably. Spanish was hard. Spanish was really hard. And that doesn't make any sense because Spanish, some of the words in Spanish look similar to the English word, if that makes sense, right? A lot of times with German, it doesn't. And so, but what I found is when I took Spanish in high school and I took Spanish in college, I felt like it was harder. I think it was harder because I was learning it in a classroom through a textbook instead of just learning it by talking to someone who has that language, that it's their native language. And I think you learn it faster that way. Also, children pick up foreign languages faster. That's true. Used to learn that from the kids in school. That was something I noticed. They pick it up faster. But I don't know. Ryan N76 said, I got really drunk in Munich and fell asleep in a doorway and someone stole my backpack. I lost a lot of things that night. Oh no, I'm sorry about that, Ryan. Why you fell asleep in the doorway? Oh dear. Oh dear. All right, guys, I told you I don't want to end with bad news. I want to end on a good note. And this isn't really, I guess, news per se, but she is one of my favorite people. And today is her birthday. And this is another woman who realized a long time ago that she was getting up out of this country. She was like, look, I'm out. I'm done. I've been through a lot. And she moved to Switzerland. So everyone, please give a huge, huge, huge happy birthday welcome for Tina Turner. Tina Turner was born in 1939 on this day in Nutbush, Tennessee. In 1976, Turner launched a solo career, received as a shining example of female empowerment. Her return at 44 was mediocre. Turner has earned 12 Grammys, 2 MTV Music Awards, and the Kennedy Center honors. Guys, I love Tina Turner. If you did not know, I played Tina Turner before when I was a camp counselor. We did like a talent show and they made me Tina, and we did like the whole like rolling on the river thing. It was so much fun. If you do not know, we can learn a lot from Tina, because when Tina told you what's love got to do with it, oh man, you can learn a lot from Tina Turner. So happy birthday to Tina Turner. I don't know how old she is. How old is she? Let me see. Her 80 songs kicked out. I'm telling you, what's love got to do with it, man? She tried to warn all of us. She tried to warn all of us, just because you love someone. Oh my God. Yay. Happy birthday, Tina. Go shorty, it's your birthday. Whoop, 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 whoop. 82. Tina Turner's 82 years old. For real? Let me see. Hold on. Are you for real? Tina Turner. It's so funny too. If you look her up now, it says American Swiss singer. Because I told you she moved to Switzerland. Age. She's 82 years old. Oh man. What does she look like now? I don't know how old this picture is that's in the thing. Let me come back out. Because I don't know. She's 82 years old. She survived Ike. Yes, Captain Obvious. Yes, she did. Jeez Louise. I didn't realize she was. Left a good job in the city. That was my song. Yeah, I think Tina had some work done. This is the most recent picture I can find of her. She's 73 in this picture. I'm going to show you guys. Hold on. Let me know if you think Tina had some work done. That was when she's 73 in this picture. Do you think she had some things done? I don't know if I made that. You think she had some work done? Rolling through the chat. 73. She doesn't even look like a grandma. Wow. Aya said those legs though. You're simply the best, better than all the rest. Oh, thanks, Horty Unicorn. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you, she's one of my fave. Left a good job in the city. Well, that's all I have tonight, guys. Thanks so much for the super chat, Justin. If MSM/government won't allow 3 parties on the debate stage in 2022, 2024, we need to call out the elections as undemocratic and invalidate said elections. That's a good point, Justin. I think that's something that we need to fight for. I think everybody should be able to be on there. Look, we just saw what was it? Democratic primaries. They had 20 20 people at one point. They split it up into 2 different nights, right? There was 10 on one stage and 10 on the other stage the other night. So we know they can do it. So they can't say it's because, oh, we need too many people. No. Thanks so much for the tip, Kimberly Jenkins. Love you, Sabs. Thanks so much for the tip, Roger Meadows. I remember back in high school, all the black kids used to trip out on all the Puerto Rican and Dominican kids for failing Spanish. Like, how you gonna fail Spanish? But I guess they looked at it as, how are you guys failing English grammar? Oh, damn. Oh, Roger. Thanks so much, Roger. And thanks so much, Kimberly, as well. Love you guys. Love you all. Thanks so much, Steve, to the super chat. Those legs are probably still hot, though. Steve! Oh, man. You guys hitting on Tina? Guys, Tina can be like our grandma. Is that what's happening here? You hitting on Tina? Okay. It's my cue to leave. Everybody cheers. Have a good Friday evening. And I think I'm going to try to finish. I'm going to catch up on Cowboy Bebop. I don't know if you guys are into anime or not, but the live action Cowboy Bebop is on Netflix now. I saw 2 episodes last night, and it's actually better than I thought it was going to be. So yeah, I'm really into it. All right. I said I was leaving and I'm still here. All right, guys. Bye. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I'll be back on Monday. You know how I do this. Have a good night. Keep up the fight.